I'm P Marrow. My book is entitled Great Day in the Morning, Country People Cutting Up. What I'm going to do is read a short segment from one of the stories, Cotton Picking Scoundrels. And I kind of set up the scene for you. One of the young ladies, she was a twin, had a twin named Miami and Minnie. Miami was bragging that she had found the keys to her granddaddy's root cellar, and she had found the wine that he made for a commission. For I'm sorry, what is the thing at church? Communion. Communion. And her friend Prue was daring her to show her. So she strolled down into the root cellar with her, and so we're going to start out. After Prue dared her to show her the wine, he said, Miami didn't say a word. She just strolled to the back of the root cellar and slid her right hand into a small crack in the wall and let out a loud grunt. Right before my eyes, an entire wall rolled open, exposing another wall with shelves from the floor to ceiling. Every shelf was filled with one end from one end to the other, from top to bottom, with bottles of Grandpa Henry's vintage wine. I was in countrified awe. My mouth fell to my chest. Miami had just exposed the mother load of homemade muscadine wine. Every bottle had a label that read for church communion only. I looked at Miami, and before I knew it, I yelled out, I be danged. We done struck gold. I ain't never seen so many bottles of wine in my whole life. Dang it, Miami, how long Grandpa Henry been making this stuff? As long as I can remember, she answered. Miami retrieved a tin cup from under her jumper pocket and held it up into the air, pretending to preach a sermon. In the name of my Grandpa Henry, bless this here wine this day, and the hands that picked the grapes to make this wine. May it taste good as it looks. Bless the children that's here, Lord Henry, and let us get drunk as skunks so that we won't feel that powder you're going to be laying on our hands if you catch us in this here root cellar. Amen. Men and I echoed amen. Then we fell out laughing, and Miami popped open one of the bottles of wine, and we started our childish communion. Miami poured a generous shot of wine into the cup, extended it out to Minnie and me, and let out a loud cheers and turned the cup up to her mouth until it was empty. Minnie and I followed her and did the same thing. Next, it was we passed the cup around a few times until the wine bottle was more than half empty. Then reality set in. Minnie started to panic. Lord have mercy. How are we going to explain to Grandpa Henry why this wine bottle is half empty? Yeah, Miss Know-it-all, I repeated Minnie's question. How are we going to explain to Grandpa Henry why this bottle of wine is half empty, huh? Tell me that, Miss Know-it-all. Miami paused for a moment. Then a devilish smile came over her face. I could hardly wait to hear what kind of brilliant scheme she dreamed of this time. She placed her right pointer finger on her cheek and said, you know, she chuckled with a devious glimmer in her eyes, something liquid and real wet. Like what, I want to know? You see anything liquid and real wet here we can fill a half-empty wine bottle with? Well, no, not yet, she answered with way too much confidence for comfort. Then she squatted down and peed in the cup until it ran over. The next thing I knew, she was pouring the pee into the wine bottle. She wedged the cork back into the top of the bottle, wiped the bottle clean with the hem of her dress, and placed it back on the shelf. It had not ever been moved. She pinched off a tiny piece of the lower left corner of the label and turned the bottle slightly to her left so that Grandpa Henry wouldn't notice it the next time he came to the wine cellar. Minnie and I did the same thing, and all of a sudden Miami was my heroine. I had to admire the criminal brilliance of such a conniving act of deception. Okay. A few weeks later, we all met down at Wilson's Pond, where we sometimes sit and skeet rocks across the water. Me and Miami started laughing, so I wanted to know what's so funny. We had communion at church, she said. What's so funny about that, I want to know. You know they have communion every fourth Sunday and pass around them little cups of wine? Everybody in the whole congregation took a big sip of wine as the deacons passed the tray from one person to the next, except me and Minnie, of course. And why not, I asked. Well, I recognized the bottle. To one of the bottles we filled with pee. You right, sure? I questioned. Yeah, I'm sure it was, because I noticed the corner label was tore off. And what did they have to say about that holy wine, I want to know. Well, as they all talked about it later at the Soul Circle, it was the most exceptional tasting batch of wine they'd ever had. And the three of us fell out laughing.